This is Napkinnate, who used to be one of the most prominent Roblox jailbreak YouTubers in the whole community, withstanding over millions of views on a lot of his videos and almost 1 million fans to his name. It's safe to say Napkinnate had it all. He was on his way to fulfilling his dream on becoming a well-respected and famous creator on the platform, but one day this would all change, because on August the 12th of 2020, Nate would upload a video titled Blade Madness in Jailbreak. Everyone watched this video thinking it was just a typical video he normally make, but little did his fans know was that this would be Napkinnate's last video he would post to this very day, almost 5 years to date since he has shown any activity on YouTube. However, there was another video that was set to release in late December, but never officially came out, making this lost media. But something his fans had yet to realize that there was a dark path awaiting for Nate, involving a life of crime, his co-star on the channel known as Just Gooby being exposed as a prolific child predator, and a bunch more. But to this day, people still wonder what happened to Napkinnate. Fans in his comments began saying things like, "It's been 3 years and the legend has still not returned. Will he ever?" And this begs the question of today's video. What happened to Napkinnate, or also known as one of Roblox's biggest criminals, and will he ever really return to YouTube? 2020, the year everything changed. Now, one last thing I want to say before I dive into this is, like I previously mentioned, Gooby was the co-star on the Napkinnate channel, and him and Nate have been best friends over the internet before Nate even began making YouTube videos. Here's a clip of Nate explaining how they had first met.
How'd you meet Gooby and the rest of the gang? So I met Gooby a long time ago before I started YouTube, and this is the story how I remember it. So King Turk, which is, I know him in real life, that's how I met him, but we were actually playing Apocalypse Rising, and I was in a warehouse, and I think he was like hatching the walls, and me and my friend, this is when we were little noobs, so we were scared, like, what is this, who is this person? And then I think Gooby was typing in group chat, "It's me."
And ever since Nate began to make videos, Gooby will make more and more appearances in his content over time. I want you to keep Nate's strong relationship with Gooby at the time in mind, as it will become more important in just a second. But anyways, back on the subject at hand. Before Nate would stop uploading completely, he was uploading significantly less frequent than usual, only a video every month or so on average. This was due to the fact that Nate was in the process of moving houses at the time.
If you're wondering why I haven't uploaded a video in almost 2 months, that's because I'm in the process of moving houses right now, and that's what's taking a while. But once I've done that, upload should be back to normal.
Yet despite when Nate officially quit YouTube, he was still active on platforms such as Discord until late July of 2021. But this specific year being 2020 was the year everything began to change for 2 reasons. The first reason being that Nate would get into some controversy involving him apparently scheming UGC creator. This would be exposed on a YouTube video posted on the September the 11th of 2020 by a YouTuber known as William the Great. Here's a clip.
So the deal was, if Dom made Napkinnate this UGC item, then Napkinnate would get to keep 75% of the sale. Then obviously Dom would keep the other 25% that's left over. So you guys can hear Napkinnate and Dom, they were just talking, right? They were being good citizens of Roblox, and they were just talking along, and then all of a sudden Napkinnate just leaves Dom in the ghost. Like, I don't even know what's going on here. Dom's like, "You there?" So guess not. Do we have a deal? Can you at least respond? The frick is the point of ghosting me like that? You know, I would at least appreciate some closure instead of running away with the hat like that. But Napkinnate actually blocked Dom. Like, this is super sad, guys. This kind of makes me cringe.
Now, the second reason as to why 2020 was the year everything started going downhill was because during Nate's activity on YouTube, not too long before he left, Napkinnate and Just Gooby, the 2 so-called best friends who would collab on multiple videos, would have a huge fallout. This was because Gooby accused Nate of stalking and abusing him. He would announce this in his Discord server by stating, "I removed Nate from my life. I don't want any more of his stalking or abuse." And yet, he had no proof to back up these claims whatsoever, and at the time he made this announcement on his server, he banned Napkinnate from his Discord server, claiming he quote, "deadass stalking him." And not only did Gooby ban Nate from his server, he also had banned pretty much anyone who was on Nate's side. But despite Gooby trying to make himself the innocent one in this fallout, this would backfire on him completely, costing all the reputation he ever had, but more on this later. But for now, let's take a look at the year 2021, the year Nate's mental health started to deteriorate, him getting arrested, and the Just Gooby allegations coming out for the first time. So sometime in 2021, a fan of Nate for around 3 years at the time reached out to him, asking, and I quote, "What's been happening? I know it's been tough, but you can still fight it. Please Nate, I've been watching you for 3 years and now nothing is new there. I check your YouTube and no uploads. I hope you see this, just become more active please. And this is when Nate replied with, I'm doing therapy right now to heal my brain and then I can go back to making videos. A lot of stuff is stressing me out right now. But this supposed plan of Nate's return failed miserably, as on September the 14th of 2021, Nate was arrested for battery/domestic violence. This was allegedly towards a family member of his and speculated to be his own mother. This was just a couple of months after Nate's final known Discord messages, or aka his last shown activity at the time. There's no say as to why Nate may have done this, but maybe his shown statements about his mental health worsening could have something to do with it. But that's just my take on this case. And taking a look at his mugshot, we are revealed of his face after being kept private for his years on YouTube, and despite what others may have believed, Napkinnate's real name isn't actually Nate, but his full name is Mark Nathaniel Wilson. This can also be proven by taking a look at Nate's past usernames, as one of them has Mark Nathaniel Wilson as initials. But regardless of his legal name being Mark, I'll just be calling him Nate for the sake of this video. Anywho, nobody knew of Nate's arrest at the time, and that was up until 2022, due to just Gooby publicly mentioning Nate's arrest document with his Discord server, and more primarily because of a now privated video regarding Nate's arrest made by another jailbreak YouTuber named Nitso. Now looking back in the year 2021, this was the time Just Gooby first began having allegations pressed against him, which this whole movement believed to have started stemming from this tweet made by an unknown contributor of exposing Just Gooby, Destructor. Some people such as myself and Destructor began to expose Gooby, bringing the situation to light. Now you're probably wondering, what did Gooby do? Well, if you don't already know, I made a whole 113 page document going over everything you need to know about Gooby and what he did. I'll leave this document linked in the description if you'd like to check it out for yourself. Now, at the time when he was first getting exposed, like for example my first video covering him, he was accused with things such as pedophilia and dog. Along with this showcases multiple screenshots backing this up. I just want you to keep in mind that Gooby was in his late 20s when he did these things, and at this time, there wasn't nearly as much information on Gooby as there was after I posted my first video on him, but more on that information in just a minute. But now let's take a look at the year 2022. Now, this year includes nothing too important, but only things like people finding out about Nate being arrested the year prior, like I previously mentioned. Now, in the before mentioned video made by Nitso, which is the main reason people found out about the arrest, there was apparently some misinformation in that video, most likely regarding Nate. Even Gooby claimed this as such. But other than that, nothing else important happened as of 2022. 2023, the year that Gooby's reputation, or what was left, will be completely tarnished. As on July the 25th, I would make my video on Gooby that would bring everything to light, garnering the attention and support of big Roblox news channels like YouTuber Parlo, and ever since I made this video, countless, and I mean countless of other creators did the same, and thanks to their help, I can confidently say that we have ruined his reputation and for good reason. This good reason being just how far Gooby went with his actions. Let's expand on this further. In brief explanation, Gooby would harass people over Discord, allegedly have ill intentions with animals, him and mainly his server moderators and his associates doxing multiple people, grooming so many minors over Discord that I can't even give an exact number of just how many victims came out about him, and also even allegedly driving a girl to take her own life. Like, literally, Gooby would say stuff like this. How could he possibly think he would ever have a reputation after saying and committing such deplorable acts? And don't worry, it's not just coming from me, but there are so many victims and people who gave their experiences with Gooby. There's pretty much no way whatsoever these allegations are false, as there is so much evidence to back it all up. And like I said, countless victims giving their stories. And there's just so much I cover in my video on him, so if you'd like to know about this situation fully, I suggest watching my last two videos on Gooby. There's also one more thing I want to mention before I move on to the next segment, and that is the fact that Nate apparently came back to Discord this year with the only purpose being to change his username. 2024, the year Nate ruined his life. This year is, I'd say, the worst year for Nate, because he was arrested not once, not twice, but 3 whole different times, all in the matter of just 6 months. His first arrest in 2023 occurred on June the 6th, and this is quite literally his biggest arrest he'd ever have to date. His charges include vehicle theft, moving traffic violation, resisting an officer, and fleeing the police. It's almost as if Nate was trying to take playing jailbreak to the next level. Now for this arrest, I was unable to find the updated mugshot unfortunately. However, Nate's next arrest is a whole different story, and trust me, it's not pretty. In fact, it's quite disturbing to say the least, and you'll see why in a sec. Anyways, Nate would get arrested again exactly 2 months later, with the only charge being burglary. But the most interesting thing about this specific arrest is Nate's very obvious change in appearance in the given mugshot, as he looks like a completely different person in this said image. Now I just want to inform you that the image I'm going to uncensor of Nate may be kind of disturbing, so just keep that in mind. But anyways, this is what Nate looked like before, and this is what he looked like in this mugshot. The first thing you may notice is that his eyes have gone cross-eyed, despite them seemingly being normal before. The second thing you may notice is his excess growth of hair compared to the last picture I showed y'all, but to say the least, he is unrecognizable. But wait, because it gets worse. Because on December the 10th, Nate would be arrested for his final time to date, and he was charged for trespassing this time. But when I tell you that Nate looks even worse in this next mugshot, trust me, I mean it. But anyways, this is what Nate looked like in this arrest, and it appears that his excess hair problem has worsened a lot more. Now there's one final mugshot of Nate that I'd like to show y'all. Keep in mind that this picture was taken this year, meaning the photo of him I'm about to show is pretty much what he looks like now. But anyways, here's the most up-to-date photo we have of Nate, and we can see one obvious improvement, that of which being him seemingly keeping his hair problem under control. But this doesn't take away the fact that he looks like a whole new version of what he used to be. I theorized that his change in appearance could be due to abusing various substances and addiction, which I think is a possibility, at least. But in total, Nate had been arrested 4 consecutive times. 2025, present year, Nate almost returned to YouTube. Now I'm sure you're questioning what I just said, since I showed y'all how Nate's life began to get involved in a lot of crime. So how could he possibly plan on returning to YouTube? Well, on December the 13th, just 3 days after his most recent arrest, Nate will return to Discord to contact someone named Smart Officer and said this: "Yo Smart, I think I might return now. I want to tease it. Are you able to make a shirt? You have the designer role in my group. Have it look like the other merch but with the date March 6th. And Smart Officer did just that. And ever since he made this shirt, some people thought it was just a troll, but most people began understandably getting hyped up for this planned return on March the 6th after almost 5 years of no uploads. Few Reddit posts were made in the jailbreak community subreddit surrounding this. Here's one that reads: "Dear jailbreak community, Napkinnate is coming back on March 6, 2025. I have some close connections with Nate, and he should be returning no later than March the 6th, 2025. As I know you guys have seen the quote troll shirt earlier last month made by Smart Officer, that was not a troll. There is evidence to show that Nate himself commissioned Smart to make the shirt and to tease his return next month. In this new video, he should cover the following topics: his allegations against him, his relationship to Just Gooby, why he did what he did with the crimes, why he disappeared, and thank you jailbreak community. I hope you're all as excited as I am for his return. I'll be making a post regarding Gooby. Gooby is going down this year. We must all stand up and protect Nate this year. I know I am. Please repost and build hype." People such as this person who made that post I just read even made a teaser trailer for Nate's planned return. So it's very safe to say everyone was hyped for this return, for some reasons more than others. A tweet made by someone named Christian Freights claims how Nate should apologize for what he has done and explain his relationship with Just Gooby. But since the day you're watching this is past the due date of the planned return, did Nate actually come back? Well, the short answer is no. He never returned to YouTube, even to this day as I'm recording this. This disappointed so many fans of Nate. Let's see what some of these people had to say. One reads: "What a big surprise. Nate never came back. There's a good chance he never even knew about this whole arrangement. If he was afraid of backlash, then why would he set up this whole arrangement hyping up his return on a specific date in the first place?" Another fan said, "Well friends, it's now the 7th, and Nate didn't say anything. Didn't upload on Napkinnate nor a new channel. It's been real. Maybe one day we'll see Nate online again, but clearly not the 7th of March. Another fan says here, "And it is officially March the 7th. Oh well guys, we've tried our best. There is always the chance that he gains the confidence to post it a different day." Then a heartbroken fan says, "Sorry everyone, I was wishing and believing. Looks like Nate backed out. My question is, why would he tease it so bad only to not show up?" And ever since Nate backed out of returning to YouTube, the shirt with the return date is no longer visible on the Napkinnate Roblox group. Now for this final segment of the video, I'll be discussing some theories as to what could have happened. The first one is that Nate was afraid of the backlash he could receive after coming back to YouTube, due to all 4 of his arrests, which I think is definitely a possibility. Another very possible theory is that Nate is still in jail, and his arrest is preventing him from accessing the internet and returning. And for this next theory, some have speculated that Nate was ready to upload a video, but backed out the last second, which is sort of possible, but I don't think it's as possible as this next theory. One final theory I have for y'all is Nate could have been on a substance as he sent those messages to make the shirt "Too Smart Officer," meaning nothing he said made any kind of sense to him. And like I previously stated, judging by Nate's worsening appearance, this is definitely a possibility nonetheless. There were just so many theories as to why he didn't return, but only he himself would know the truth. And ever since Smart Officer received those DMs from Nate, there hasn't been no sign of activity of him at all, not on Discord, Twitter, or anything. Remember, this was the year that he was supposed to return, but for right now, things aren't looking too good for the future of the Napkinnate channel. He had not only disappointed many fans, but his subscriber count has decreased so significantly compared to when he was uploading. He lost around 30,000 subscribers since he quit. Now remember the teaser trailer someone made for Nate? Well, the maker of this is someone known as Unordinary Cellist, and I decided to ask what he thought about the situation. These are some of the things that he had to say.
And I even messaged Nate a few times, so in the case if he does come back, he'll know that there are people there who actually genuinely give a shit about him. It's like, I don't know if you knew this, but maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but I'm gonna tell you. So with Nate talking to Gooby about his mental health, he wasn't being a very good friend about it. I'm sure, like, yeah, except he would make fun of him publicly as well. As far as I know, he did publicly. I could be wrong. I wasn't in the server at that time if he did. To be fair, I probably wasn't very active on social media at the time when it did. A majority of it, from what I know, according to Joe, all of his mental health issues mostly stemmed from Gooby.
Yeah.
The majority of them did. Then again, he'd also record videos that were like 10 minutes long and then edit them for 9 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. You got that. Is that what I believe? What happened with Nate's second arrest? It said fleeing police and car theft. Is that he might have been scared. Chances are that's what happened. He got caught up in some really bad shit that he probably didn't mean to get into, and then he fled.
Now, for my personal thoughts on the situation, there's still no say to where Nate could be, but I really hope he can recover from everything he's facing, all of the arrests, the speculated addiction he could be undergoing, and more. But I can confidently say that his road to becoming a respected content creator changed so drastically that I think Nate could have ruined his life for good, as it will be hard for him to get a job for all the stuff that he's been convicted for, and of course him not returning to the one thing that gave him the most success. In the future, we will see if we ever hear anything else from him, but for now, Napkinnate is one of the largest criminals in Roblox YouTube history, and is still missing to this very day. There's no telling where he could be or where he may have went, but it's safe to say that he dug his life into such a deep hole that there's not really any good possibility that he will ever come back. But regardless, I wish him the best and for him to maybe someday finally recover.